Hi, well, hello again. And now I'm presenting, well, I'm the same as before. I'm Adrian Todoli. I'm a professor from University of Valencia. And I'm presenting a literature review commissioned by SAWEE and about ethical and legal challenge of the use of artificial intelligence management of workers. So here I want to focus in the not only on OSH issues related to algorithm management, which is of course a big part, but other consequence on the employment contract or in labor relationships. We go a little more than only OSH related things. So let's start with again, what this is important, why we should care about artificial intelligence managing workers. I think this is something that everyone knows already, that artificial intelligence it's something that it's every day in newspapers about how is that changing the work and labor relationships. But the other part, which is not that known, is that it's already been used a lot in HR practices. Like, for example, artificial intelligence is choosing who is hired, who gets the best schedule among a group of workers, who is promoted is being decided, or at least the profile is quite important, made by artificial intelligence. Also, who gets a bonus or who won't get a salary bonus, and also what is the correct intensity or pace of work. And of course, who gets fired. These things are already being decided by artificial intelligence. So what we find is that middle management is being replaced, or at least most of the decision is taken out from middle management, so that artificial intelligence is doing that, is doing this research. One example that we found in one of the papers is, for example, it's Amazon that uses a chip in the boats in order to count every step that in a warehouse the worker is doing. All the workers in the warehouse are monitorized through this technology, this sensor technology, and then the algorithm is making a ranking of all the workers in a warehouse. And then with this ranking, which is called productivity index, they fire 10% of the workforce every year. So this is, of course, when the decision of who is fired, it depends on this productivity index made by the artificial intelligence. This is, for example, also in hiring. There are artificial intelligence which are interviewing candidates and making something like that, which is just a percentage of how many points in every candidate is getting after this artificial intelligence interview of the candidate. And sometimes it's so explicit as that. Like in red is not a good candidate according to artificial intelligence, but of course also you have this number, this percentage. So even when, this is the important thing, even when the artificial intelligence is not taking the decision, because sometimes it's directly the decision is made by the artificial intelligence, but sometimes it's not the artificial intelligence making the decision, it's just displaying the information. But the way that the artificial intelligence displays the information is giving you everything, because who in HR is going to hire this one? It's very difficult, because the profiling made by the artificial intelligence is probably all the information that is being used. So actually data says that 72% of the CVs are never seen by human eyes, because the artificial intelligence is just discard them automatically. And then, even when they have they pass the first round to the second, which is the interview, sometimes even that is made by artificial intelligence. So with that, we have 3 objectives in this paper. First, what are the main, sorry, there is a misspelling. What are the main uses of algorithmic management of workers? So we try to see what are they doing, like in Amazon, but in other examples. Second, what are the main consequences of having an algorithm as a boss? As I said, not only OSH consequence, but other related consequences. And third, one can do about it. So what are the possibilities, regulatory, policy, etc., etc. So the idea is the main uses. Okay, here we need to understand that since 20 years ago, with all the sensors, with computers, companies are getting a lot of data. But the problem until artificial intelligence was that that was too much data. The HR get a lot of data, but they couldn't do anything with that because it was too much data. Processing and getting decisions from that data, it was too costly. So, because you need a lot of people processing that data. But now with artificial intelligence, the algorithm is making that processing of the data and then narrowed it down to something like, something like we see before, like it's not like all the data, but just a percentage of the data. So that's manageable for the HR company. Well, where they are getting the data, for example, from social network for hiring and this kind of digital reputation of workers, etc. For example, for knowing who is promoted or not, these softwares like Teams monitorize how many hours are you connected, if you are online or not, if you are absent of the, but apart from that, there are specific programs which get all the data, like for example, how many emails have you written, how many web pages have you visited, how many times you didn't touch the computer. Maybe you are working because you are thinking, or maybe you are reading another, but if you are not there, the artificial intelligence maybe can think that you are not working, you are resting. So there is a lot of software that get all the information, even how many keywords have you pulsed for a minute, for an hour, for all day. And then with all that information, the algorithm make decisions or profiles. So, well, in things like that we already see. For example, there are other examples that we found with hotels and cleaning ladies with a smartwatch. The algorithm is counting the number of minutes you spend on cleaning a toilet or just cleaning a room in the hotel. And if you are spending more time than the algorithms decided that is the optimal time to clean the room or clean the toilet, the smartwatch will vibrate. This is what the literature called the digital wimp, because the idea is the same. It's not, in the past times, the wimp was not to hurt the slave, it was to remind them that they were watched. So here is the same. It's the constant remembering that you are being watched, you are being controlled, so that's why is going to be break. And maybe there are reasons that why you are taking more time that is needed. For example, because today, without artificial intelligence, maybe there is also a rule that, okay, you have 20 minutes to clean the room. The difference is that if you are taking more time out when there is no artificial intelligence, you can go to your supervisor and just speak about it, or just explain yourself that why you are taking more time and what happened. But with these automatic decisions, even the firing can be automatic, so you cannot have the possibility to answer. And this is found in the papers that that's a big issue, the lack of opportunity to answer or to explain yourselves about what is happening, because I don't know if you try, but you cannot argue with a toaster. Okay, no one's seen this series, but I can assure you there is a toaster there, okay? It's just an old TV series. Okay, so the consequence, let's talk a little bit about consequence. We can know some of them, because just with the examples we can see about health issues, and but one of the things that I would like to talk about is something that is not out, is not at least, no, there is not a lot, there is some papers that are now talking about this, and I think that is quite important, and it's about that, because we thought a lot about artificial intelligence taking jobs, and now there is great literature like OCDE and ILO reports that they are talking about that is not what is happening. There is no taking jobs, but what artificial intelligence is doing is reducing the bargaining power of workers. And we know what is happening when bargaining power is reduced, is that salaries and, in general, working condition is going down. So that's something important. What are the mechanisms about that? Why is that happening? There are 4 reasons, and I think I will very briefly explain. The first is artificial intelligence is making recruitment very cheap. So that means usually companies are paying wages premium because they don't want a lot of turnover. But when recruitment is easy, especially in countries with high unemployment, because the algorithm is making the recruitment for the company through these automatic interviews, it's very cheap, so it's easy to the turnover. Of course, there is all problems with training of the new employees, etc. But just keeping down the recruitment cost, it's one of the reasons that it's reducing the bargaining power. The second is Joseph Stiglitz, which is an economic Nobel laureate of economics. He says that companies are paying also premium to workers in order to avoid monitoring, because monitoring workers is expensive. So you prefer to pay more money in order that they behave, so they make an effort in order not to lose the job, so you don't have to monitor them. But as algorithms are making monitoring very cheap, because all the reasons, tracking, sensors, etc., so they don't have to pay extra. They don't need to pay the carrot. The company don't need to pay the carrot, but they just use disciplinary powers. Also, unions, this is another thing, because in recruitment, algorithms are very good in order to discover who is a union member and not hiring him or her, because they have a lot of information. The algorithm can predict if you are a union member, even if you don't disclose that information, because it's maybe in the newspaper you are reading, or the street you are living on. Actually, in political, knowing your political affiliation for an algorithm is quite easy, because the voting is usually on districts. So you cannot know if that person exactly is voting that party, but you know that this neighborhood is voting that party. So the algorithm is going to think that if you live there, you concord with your majority of your neighborhood. So it's easy for a computer, for artificial intelligence, to discriminate on basis of your political affiliations. Even if it is not real your political affiliation, not just from your belief or your belief is enough. So without unions, or if the company gets no union members or can not to hire union members, probably also the bargaining power is going down. And the last one is outsourcing. One of the effects on the labor market of artificial intelligence is that it's making very easy to outsource things, because the main company can control the workers of the outsourced company very easy. That is happening in Pizza Hut, which franchises has a camera which know the number of slices of salami in the pizza, and this information is directly from the main company, not from the franchise, which is supposed to be different. So just to finish, of course, the risk factors, there are also in the report. I'm not going to go through them, but I have to say that it's also there. So just to finish, what can do about it? There are some solutions: assessment of specific risk, design algorithms that do not harm. For me, this idea is a Asimov idea, right? The robots should not harm humans or persons. So the idea is the same. We should design since the beginning. Also, human in command, at the end, audit of algorithms. I think the fourth is the most important one, because usually humans they don't have enough knowledge, so you need a systematic review of the data of the decision made by the algorithm in order to discover if there is biases, discover if there is overload, discover if there is like discrimination of union members. You cannot see only by a human revision or human in command. You need audits. And if it is possible, I think they should be public audits. So that's it. Thank you.